So it looks like we're live, maybe. Hey, I can't tell which one of these I'm doing. Take just a minute, let everybody get online with us. You can't see what's going on right now because you're on Facebook. There are literally several thousand people in this venue right now. So you can hear them all laugh. You guys got to laugh louder. Let's take two. There's thousands of people here right now. So we're going to be talking about creating a trust culture. And is that working?
Yes, it is, sir.
We just got 60 minutes. Do we have just one shot? Okay, whatever. That will work. So we can't. Oh, I can. Okay, cool. So welcome aboard if you're on Facebook with us right now. Thanks for checking it out. We're going to talk about creating a trust culture, and I believe that trust is one of the most valuable and important things an organization has. So valuable and so necessary, and if you don't have it, you have zero chance of having a healthy organization. It can't possibly, or team, or family. Trust is a building block. And so your church or your business or your organization, you should strive to make it the healthiest organization in the city. You should have a standard for it that's above everything else. But it won't get there by accident. You have to determine and focus that we're going to have a healthy organization. Now here's the cool thing. Unhealthy people don't fit in a healthy organization. That's really, really cool because we don't want unhealthy people in our organization. Now if they're unhealthy, and we want to help them, we want to help them get healthy, but eventually if they are narcissistic, they don't fit in our organization. If they have anger issues, or if they lie about their problems, and they won't be honest with you about their failings, you don't need that in your organization. So if you establish a really healthy organization, then they're going to kind of find their way out of it. And so we're going to talk about how to do that, and you've got some notes right there. Number one, occasionally there is a gap between what you expect. All right, now watch this, y'all, because I have pulled out all the stops today, and I got some really high-tech stuff. What's this say? This is what I expect. All right, it's high-tech. It's kind of heavy. I hope it doesn't fall over. Here's the problem. What I experience, I would love for them to be just like this. Okay, that's not good. I would love for what I expect and what I experience to be just like this. I ask a team member to do whatever, and bam, it's seamless. They do exactly what I've asked them to do. That's amazing, And sometimes they go beyond. I have a lot of team members on our team here at Daystar that they exemplify that. And this is what you want. That you expect something and you experience the exact same thing. You envision that this is what's going to help our church, our business, our team. And you ask somebody to do it, and bam, it's seamless. Look at this, it just moves right across. But in most cases, there's a gap, right? And if it's this close, it's pretty cool, right? If it's this close, well, he almost did what I asked. But then it kind of spreads out, and then maybe it's just way over here. Levi, when we do this again, we'll find something not so big as it was. So what are you going to do when there's a gigantic gap between what you have expected and what you've experienced? So put my last break in there, because if I move my hand, things are going to fall apart. Yeah! You fill it with what? Trust. That's the only way. If you fill it with suspicion, if you fill it with anger, there we go. Let's see if we can do that. There we go. So if see if is Facebook Live here or because there's frozen on the screen. They work. Okay, good. All right, so they can see this high-tech stuff we got going into. So if you fill this with something else, maybe I could have written mistrust, or I could have put anger on here, or suspicion, or any number of other things, your organization will be really unhealthy. And that's actually going on. Trust, every organization needs trust, And most organizations have a lot of mistrust. And we'll talk about what that looks like, and you'll agree with me. We get to choose. We can either assume the worst, or we can believe the best with this gap, right? Let's say I ask someone to wrap 3 bricks in colored paper, and when I got here, they just didn't show up today. Like, they didn't come to work. They just weren't there. I didn't have my little super high-tech little thing that I'm showing y'all right now, and it wasn't there. So I have, everybody say gap?
Yeah.
Right? There's a gap here. Somebody didn't do what I asked them to do. So I have to fill, I will fill this gap. It'll happen. I'll fill this gap with suspicion, or anger, or any number of things. Or I can fill it with trust, and I can say, well, I was planning on doing this whole thing, but I can't do it. But that's cool, because I asked Levi to do it, and Levi's not here. Something must have gone wrong, because Levi is a count-on team member. He is always here. He always comes through. So if this didn't happen, something's gone wrong. In fact, somebody go check on Levi. That's what it looks like to trust. And even more, let's say other people know that I've asked Levi to do this, and it doesn't work out. Well, see, especially on a team, sometimes there's jockeying for position, there's all this, and in many organizations, other members of the team kind of like it for somebody to mess up, because they feel like it lowers the bar. And they like to sign it up to you like, dude, he let me down that time too. And see, you can't give that's the wrong way to deal with unmet expectations, first of all, to talk to somebody else. It's the wrong way to deal with it. And trust is when I step up and say, well, if you've had issues with Levi, you need to go deal with it yourself, because I've never had issues with him. He always comes through, and whatever's going on here, I'm sure there's a good explanation for it. That's what a trust culture looks like. And see, Levi now is going to know if that happens, and I go to bat for him, and guess what he's going to do for me? Because everybody is going to miss expectations at some point, right? So when I miss expectations, I want Levi to go to bat for me. I don't want him to be like, he's always about, we better be here on time. It's 8:05, I don't see his big old booty up in here right now. I don't want people talking like that about me. And I establish that culture. And I don't mean because I'm the pastor of the organization. I mean, everybody establishes that culture. You get your own, there's a big culture, everybody in the organization, but you got a little culture bubble around you too. You establish your own culture around you, people you interact with. Now, what makes it hard for me to put trust in here and believe the person? Anybody? Past experiences makes it difficult.
I heard one person
Gossip.
say, if you don't gossip to me, you won't gossip about me. I thought
Yeah, so really the 2 big things that make it hard for me to trust is what I see. Because I'm going, man, I trust that Levi would come through for me. Dude, I just trust he would. And then I look down and he's live, Facebook Live, and he's on the lake right now. So what I see will make it hard for me to trust if what I see is not good. But the other thing is who I am. That's the part I can control most. If I am a suspicious person, if I'm an untrusting person, if I'm a person who believes the best, if I'm a judgmental person, it's going to make it very difficult for me to choose to trust. And so that's why, the team member lets you down by what they do. You have a limited amount of things you can do about that. But if I'm not trusting, and it has to do with me, and by the way, most of the time we don't trust, it does have to do with me. Especially if you're the head of the organization. I have no excuse, as the head of this organization, I have no excuse not to trust. I have zero excuse not to trust. Well, you can say, well, sure, maybe you've got an untrustworthy team member. Well, I'm the one that let him on the team. So I have no excuse whatsoever. I've got to set a standard that makes it impossible for untrustworthy team members to stay on board. Now, they make mistakes. Someone may go through a life change and they become untrustworthy. So I couldn't fix that. But again, if I keep the bar high, they're going to find it very difficult to be on this team. They're going to either rise to the level or they're going to get out of it. So as a leader, trust is absolutely 100% my responsibility for the whole thing. Number two, developing a culture of trust is critical to the organization. Trust fuels productivity because a trust culture attracts trustworthy people. A good example of this is one of our newest team members here at Daystar is Kylie. She's trustworthy. We needed another new team member, and she's been on staff a few months.
The end of June.
Okay, a few months, and one of her closest friends, she says, "Hey, you'll love it." Now, if she'd come in here and this organization was unhealthy and it was backstabbing and there's say one thing and do another, are you going to go tell your best friend to come on the team? Absolutely not. But because she's a trustworthy person and it felt good to be among other trustworthy people, what did she do? From her same pool of influence, we brought another trustworthy person on. And it works the opposite. If you got sketchy people working in a sketchy organization, the next person you hire is going to be a sketchy person. It's that same scenario. So trust fuels the organization, and mistrust undermines the organization. What about this statement? You'll never know who you can trust until you trust them. You know why some organizations don't have a trust culture? Some teams, some ministries, some businesses, some families, because nobody trusts anybody. How do you know? I was counseling with, I was talking with a friend that he's going through some stuff, and his wife has some major trust issues, and I was trying to help her, and she won't trust me, she won't trust anyone. I'm literally not a personal complaint, and I'm screaming. If you would just try it, you'd find out I'll never lie to you, I'll never betray your confidence, but until you trust somebody, then you have no way to know if they're trustworthy. And so what does that look like? Trusting somebody means you hand it to them and you just wait to see what happens. Trusting someone is very dangerous. And you know what? You don't do anything great without taking some risk, right? You got to trust somebody. Looking over here at Parker, you got somebody rising up in the organization, and you know, the worship team, you give them a song, and they like just start preaching. Just, you know, you trusted them, you know, and you're like, whoa, you know, I answer to somebody too, and you get me in trouble right now. So what a lot of worship pastors will do, they nobody gets a mic but them. Everybody else's mic's turned down to nothing, and he does all the singing, all the encouraging. You need a little special word that's got to happen, and that makes a bad worship team. Everybody feels like, who do you think he is? Well, he may not be egotistical. He might just not be able to trust him, have the capacity to trust. So he's afraid things won't work out well, and he'll be, you know, held accountable to it. So trust is critical, and the longer I don't trust, the longer untrustworthy people can hide in my organization. At least if I trust somebody and they let me down, now I know what I'm dealing with, and I can deal with it. But if I got untrustworthy people, I'll never know that until I give them the ball, until I trust them, let them try something, and then I can deal with it. So trusting, and I'm going to tell you, as a leader in a church, I have trusted a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. And I've been embarrassed. Listen, if you're a leader and you've never been embarrassed by somebody you didn't trust, you need to up your game. Because you have to take some risks. And I've been embarrassed before. You know, we trust every time we baptize somebody. We give them a Daystar shirt. They're gonna walk around town in that Daystar shirt, you know. And then y'all know about that guy that got arrested in his Daystar shirt for selling drugs. You got a mug shot in the paper with Daystar on his shirt. And now he's a pastor at Church 212. That was not Chris. That's just a joke. But the truth is, we trusted that guy, and he let us down. But you know what? Trust fueled him and made him feel like they loved me. And 10 other guys that we trusted, you know, became disciples, and they're doing something great for Jesus. And you know, so if you don't trust people, then you don't take a risk, no doubt. But actually, not trusting is the only thing more risky than trusting, because not trusting 100% dooms the organization. You can mark it down 100%. You will not win if you don't trust. Trust enables the organization to move faster. Reggie McNeil, it's quote in your notes there. He says, teams use trust as currency. If it's in short supply, the team is poor. If trust abounds, the members of the team have purchased, this is a great line, purchasing power with each other to access each other's gifts, talents, energy, creativity, and love. The development of trust becomes the leader's strategy. Now, y'all are messing me up. You moved my clock, and then
Sorry.
there it is. And it's sideways, so I have to, it's got Roman numerals on it. So I have no idea. I am trusting y'all to keep my phone You gotta really know.
I had to lean up on here.
I know, I'm sorry. Just take it over there. A clock with Roman numerals and it's sideways, that's trouble right there. All right, so when you trust somebody, you get purchasing power into their gifts. I love that. I'll give you an example of that. I'm the pastor of Daystar, so I have the pulpit. It's my job to have the pulpit. And we have one person on our staff who preaches the exact opposite that I do. He kind of preaches the exact opposite. You might know who that is. And when he preaches, I tell him,
I'm going to be the poster boy.
but when Kip speaks, I've told my wife this several times, he will always say something that if I preach 100 years, I will never do. I will never, ever get to that. Probably because it's unbiblical. No, I'm just kidding. It's not unbiblical. But he just sees things. I've got a few sermons in my head right now that he preached that he told the story of Obed-Edom one time. It's a rare, random story, and it blew my mind about how that story goes. I would never, ever do that. I'd never get to that. I wouldn't see it that way. I preached a sermon one time about bug guts on the windshield that I distinctly remember. So, and I can't remember what I preached last Sunday. So, but when you trust someone who does it a little bit differently than you, you get to purchase his gifts. And the organization gets to feed off of something that you can't bring. I can preach 100 years and never bring what Kim can bring. So I'm going to trust him, and I'm going to be able to access his talents. Number 3, developing a culture of trust begins with the leader. Trust and suspicion are telegraphed by the leader of the organization. I have to really work on this really hard because I have high standards for myself and high standards for other people. Sometimes it looks like I don't trust them. And if that is the case, people withdraw. They withdraw. They don't take chances. They don't take a risk, and that's a mess. Thinking about Parker leading worship, man, there's things inside of him that I don't have, and I can't be staring at him and judging everything he does because then he won't take a risk. And if he takes a risk, something amazing is going to happen, in that worship experience. So you've got to learn to temper your desire for things that want to be perfect in your organization with your desire to be able to access other people's gifts. And it starts with the leader. Now, when you can't trust, you absolutely must confront. This is a mistake of a lot of leaders. We don't like to confront. People in general, if you poll the whole world, something like 10% enjoy confrontation. I happen to be one of those 10%, because I know that confrontation is such a healthy thing for an organization, if it's done well. The longer you sit on it, the worse the problem gets. Because you're sending the wrong signal to the person who needs to be confronted. You're telling them this is fine. He saw this, she saw this, this must be okay. You're sending the wrong signal. So you got to confront quickly. Let's figure it out. Here's a person who's worthy of trust. If they say this, if I create a gap between what you expect and what you experience, you will be the first to hear about it. I assure you I will fix it and it won't happen again. I love when something goes wrong and somebody that was in charge of that, before I could say anything about it, goes, hey, I noticed this happened. We do a Tech Arts review every weekend, every Tuesday about the weekend review with there's ever anything wrong in tech arts, Dan's like, hey, this has happened, and we fix it this way, and I don't have to go over it whatsoever. And then I can pretend like I didn't notice, and I'm like, what? Good job. But that's a person who is trustworthy, and it is that when I don't meet expectations, I'm going to come to you before you have to come to me. That's really important, guys, because it's not just the person in charge who has to establish a trust culture. You have to establish wherever you are, and I'm not in charge everywhere I am. I've got to also think about the people who are depending on me. I got to make sure that I let them know, hey, you can trust me. I'm not perfect, but you can trust that if I fall short, you're going to know about it first. So here's 5 commitments every organization ought to make. Every member ought to make to each other. When there's a gap between what I expected and what I experienced, I will believe the best. You can trust that I'm going to believe the best. That if, I'm looking over here at Dan, we had a worship service not long ago, the lights were freaking out right before church. They were all the way bright, all the way dark. People were trying to come into the 8:30 service, and it's getting dark on them, and it's getting bright. I'm literally walking around the room talking to people. How you doing? Boom, they disappeared. I disappeared. I am not sitting there going, we got this joker named Joey up there on the lights, and he's, just got out of high school. That sucker don't know it. In some ways, that almost would make me look better. I'm mad at Joey. Joey's his kid, but that doesn't fuel the organization. Instead, I'm going, I'm making light of it. I'm like, now you see it, now you don't. Or I'm saying, this is complex up here, and let's figure some stuff out. Sorry about that. But that's my commitment to you. That if you don't meet my expectations, I'm going to think the best about you. The second commitment is, when others assume the worst about you, I will defend you. I'll come to your defense. Somebody's dogging you about that, I'm going to step up and defend you about that. And those of you that are on our team here, I'm making all 5 of these commitments to you right now. You will not ever. I don't work in children's ministry directly. I don't go to the children's ministry meetings or whatever, and I'm certainly not going to kids' church. But if something went wrong in kids' church, anybody might walk up to me and roll somebody under the bus. There is 0% chance I'm piling on. There's not a little bit of a chance I'm going to pile on and say, well, yeah, that Luke Parker, that joker's sketchy anyways. He's probably thinking more about hunting than he is about Jesus. There's not a chance I'm going to do that. I'm going to say something like, I have known Luke since he was a kid. Amazing. I can promise you, if something don't look right, they're working on it, and it's going to be better because, that's the way, and I was a benefactor of that. I had lunch with my wife today. We were just going over this stuff a little bit, and she talked about a great pastor that I served under named Peter McDuffie. We didn't do podcasts and stuff like that back in the day, but he exemplified everybody else. He just always bragged on you. He always trusted you. If anybody ever said anything about you, now he was not averse to putting his boot in your posterior behind closed doors. But man, out there among the team, among people, he just would always elevate you. And so I learned that at a young age in my ministry. Number 3 commitment is, what I experience begins to erode my trust. I will come directly to you first. That is so important. So important. If you're in a team that's working together on something, and in the team, a meeting doesn't happen unless you have action items. We say at Daystar, that meeting didn't happen if we didn't start with an agenda, we didn't end with action items. So let's say we got action items. Everybody in the room got the email that one of the action items is Chris is going to do whatever. And then, what I'm doing leans on something Chris did. It made me look bad because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. Well, what I can do is just start rolling. Hey, y'all, I know I didn't get my part done. Let me just tell everybody, Hopper, he screwed us over. That's what happened. That's not a trust culture. Trust culture, and let me tell you, that one goes on all the time. That little example happens all the time. That's called covering your butt. And it happens in the workforce, it happens in the ministry, it happens on every team all the time. And that does not build a trust culture. What I want to do is say, hey, we had some breakdowns. I'm sorry about that. We'll get to the bottom of this. And then privately, I'm gonna go straight to Chris. I'm never gonna say his name to anyone until I talk to him about it. That's how you build a trust culture. Number 4, if I'm unable to deliver on a promise, I'll come to you ahead of time. Do not let me find out about it in a bad time when I'm under the gun. If you know something's going wrong, come to me immediately so we can clean it up. I have no tolerance for somebody that just hopes it goes under the radar. Man, my radar is it works good. It's probably not going under the radar. And if you let me get out there and get exposed, and I look like a fool in some way, I'm gonna have a hard time trusting you. Okay, so if I can't deliver a promise, I come to you ahead of time. And number 5, this is the last one. We're gonna stop and have a little discussion. When you confront me about the gaps I've created, I will tell you the truth. Can't work in a good organization. No chance. See, if you work in an organization that doesn't value honesty and trust, then you don't need to be there anyways. If you feel like you got to hide something, you got to lie something to stay on the team, you're in the wrong team. Quit. Go get another job. You're just not a healthy organization. On the other hand, if you're in a healthy organization and things go wrong, you can be honest because a healthy organization values you. And they want you healthy. They want to help you to overcome whatever's going wrong. So there's no reason on earth that you would lie about it, because if you'll be honest, well, we'll clean that up. We'll help you fix that. So it's all about a culture that is trusted, and that culture is affirming, and it's healthy, and people are growing. And the simplest reality is that healthy things grow. Don't your businesses grow? Don't focus on just volume or bottom line. Focus on health. It'll grow. You want the church to grow? Don't focus on the numbers. Focus on health. Are we healthy? Those healthy things. All right, I'm gonna stop our live feed for now, and we'll just do a little bit of question and answer. Thanks so much, guys, for applying on this.